Box score of the night here. January 11th, recap of the basketball games for fantasy basketball in the NBA, and the New York Knicks and the Charlotte Hornets in this one. And the Hornets, they beat the Knicks easily in this one, 109-88. And the Knicks fall to 5-6, and the Hornets improved to 6-5 now. So the Knicks have lost 3 in a row, and the Hornets playing a little better of late. Now to the box score. We'll start off with the Knicks. Mitchell Robinson in this one. He had a good game for fantasy owners and for the Knicks. 33 minutes of play, 12 points, 11 rebounds, and a couple blocks, and he was a perfect 5 for 5 from the field. It was Mitch Robinson, 2 for 4 from the foul line, and obviously he didn't give a 3. So Robinson, he's putting up decent numbers. Another nice double-double here tonight, and so far he's living up to the value, kind of, where he got drafted in the 5th to 6th round of fantasy leagues. But you want to see a little more from Robinson like this each and every night. And most of his points in this one was putbacks and lay-ins. R.J. Barrett, on the other hand, another bad night from the field for him. And the struggles continue a lot here. 5 of 18 from the field, 1 for 2 from the line, and 0 for 5 from deep was Barrett. So Barrett, at least he added some other stats to his stat line. 11 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals in this one. But he just can't get his field goal percentage up, and he can't shoot the jumper. And Barrett in this one, he had a decent amount of open looks, but he just couldn't get the job done. And right now, fantasy owners, if they're worried about Barrett, they might try to trade him this week. It's good, though, that he's still getting rebounds and assists, but that field goal percentage has to go up. Austin Rivers, he got the start in this one with Reggie Bullock, the usual starter, out with an injury in this game. And Austin Rivers, he had a decent game in this one. 37 minutes of play, 13 points, 4 rebounds and an assist. 5 of 12 from the field and 3 of 9 from 3. So Rivers, he's doing what you expect. He's going to get 10 to 12 points a game. Probably add a 3.5 to 2 threes a game. And that's what he did in this one. Was Rivers. You would want to see him get more shot attempts in this offense, because I think Rivers is the second best scorer and playmaker on this team with the Knicks behind Randall. And now, speaking of Randall, he had a down game in this one. 11 points, 5 boards, 5 assists, and a lot of double teaming the Hornets were doing of Randall. But Randall will be fine. He's been a fantasy stud this season. And then the Knicks next game, I think Randall, he'll get back with a huge one. And the Knicks, they're reeling right now. And Randall, he got in foul trouble early in this one. Alfred Payton, he had a decent fantasy game in this one. 15 points, 6 boards, 4 assists, and he actually shot 7 of 14 from the field for 50%, and he hit a 3. So Payton, he's been the starter all season for the Knicks. There's no one really getting to him to get his starting job. Maybe Quickly, maybe Nicolino when he comes back, but he's not getting healthy. And Quickly in this one, he went 1 for 10 from the field. So Payton, he's not in danger of losing his starting job, and he's going to play the minutes. He could pass the ball, and if he could improve his shooting somehow, he'll be valuable. Kevin Knox in this one, he had a breakout performance. 19 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 7 of 17 from the field for Knox, and he hit a whopping 5 threes out of 12 attempts. So Knox, he's still a player that shouldn't be owned in most fantasy leagues, even with a big game like this where he was hitting threes. It was just a good game for him from downtown, but I got to see more from him if you're going to own him in fantasy. Emmanuel Quickly, he's a player that should only be owned in 14 to 16 team leagues at best. In this one, he did play 28 minutes, but no impact really. 3 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and a terrible 1 for 10 from the field for his Quickly. This Hornet defense, they were swarming on this Knicks team, and they just couldn't get anything going. And the Knicks, again, in this one, held under 90 points for the 3rd game in a row. And Nerlens Noel played 14 minutes, but he has no value. Now to the Hornets side of things. Bismack Biyombo, another start where he didn't do anything. Biyombo, 2 weeks ago, he was doing good and a recommended pickup. But right now, Biyombo, he shouldn't be on any fantasy teams, really. 2 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 for 2 from the field and a couple blocks. But he don't have enough value or enough impact on the stat line to own him. P.J. Washington, a mediocre game for him. 30 minutes of play, 13 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 of 11 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3. So Washington, it was a decent game for him. And he's a player that's had up and down so far this season, and I think that will continue as the season goes on. But he's a player you just got to keep and hope for the best with Washington. Terry Rozier in this one, 33 minutes of play, 12 points, 6 boards, 2 assists. A scary Terry. He's a player I said last week to sell high because I think those big games where he went for 35 and 42 are going to be few and far in between. And his numbers are going to be more like he did here tonight with 12 to 15 points with a couple threes and a few boards. And Rozier in this one, he didn't do much. And he's a player I would just try to sell off because I think there could be a trade in the works soon, or LaMelo Ball's going to start for this team. Gordon Hayward, another huge game for him here. 34 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 11 of 17 from the field, 10 for 10 from the line, and he added 2 threes. So Hayward, I've been wrong about him so far this season. He's been Hayward of old from the Jazz days, it looks like, and he's averaging on the year 22 points this season. The Hornets, they paid him a boatload of money. 4 years, $120 million. But I think Hayward, there's still a real possibility he could get injured here. And if you have Hayward, I think he's still a great sell-high candidate, is Hayward, even though he's putting up huge numbers and helping fantasy teams. But for some reason, I just don't trust him this season to stay healthy and play every game, or just about most of the games. Devontae Graham, it was a good game for him. He's been struggling mightily this season from the field and scoring. And this one, 19 points, 2 boards, 7 assists, 7 of 15 from the field. And he added 2 threes. So Devontae Graham, hopefully he could get his shot going and get the plays back up for him, because it's been a bad season for him. A lot of owners expected the great production you had out of him last season this year, but so far that just hasn't been the case. So hopefully Graham could have more type of ball games like he did in this one. Melo Ball in this one, he shot the ball poorly, 3 for 13 from the field. But the rest of his stat line, 8 points, a whopping 14 boards for the first-year guard, and 7 assists with 2 steals. So Ball, he helps out in a lot of different categories, even with a bad field goal percentage in this one. He did a little bit of everything. We saw him get the triple-double a few nights ago. And Ball, he's a player that you're going to have on your fantasy team the whole season. And if he could just improve his shooting a little bit this year, he's going to be a top 50 fantasy player probably by the end of the season. Miles Bridges, a decent game in this one. 13 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 for 6 from the field. And he hit 2 threes. So Bridges, he's been an up-and-down player so far this season. In 8 and 10 team leagues, maybe he's droppable. But 12 teams and on, I would just hold on to him. He's still getting major minutes. Him and Ball are the 6th and 7th men off the bench here for this Charlotte Hornet team. And the Martin brothers, they're not really going to be a threat to these guys taking their playing time. So that was the Knicks and the Hornets box score.